Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Descendant for the month of October. It's going to be shorter than the main monthly readings because obviously it's only covering a 2-week period from the 15th to the 31st of October. So I'm going to keep it nice and short. I'm going to try not to pull any clarifiers also to that end. I'm trying something a little bit different this month. Usually I pull 3 cards for your current energy, 3 cards for what's coming towards you and 3 cards of advice. But I want to kind of throw that middle row out, and instead I want to concentrate on looking for the lesson, right? A point of introspection, like what is your current energy, what you are experiencing right now? What is it trying to tell you, right? Where is it trying to show you that you need to look? And then we'll stick with the advice for the end. So I hope that that makes sense. I'm sure it will make sense once I start pulling cards. I'm going to use the Llewellyn for you. So I have 3 cards for Aquarius, please. Woo. First card is the Page of Wands. Second card is Judgment. The third card is the Queen of Cups. Interesting. We've got the 2 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So it feels like your current energy is concerned with somebody else at the moment, right? It's a relationship of some sort, and that does not need to be emotional, like romantic. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It is an interpersonal relationship that you have with someone else, right? Interestingly enough, it's followed by the 2 of Swords. You are in a state of indecision at the moment about something to do with this relationship, right? It could be a colleague, it could be a friend, it could be anyone, right? But there's something about this that you're kind of stopping yourself from seeing, because that's how I feel the 2 of Swords operates, right? It's trying to make purely intellectual decisions about things, but she's got it back to the water, she's got it back to the moon. So there are other considerations that you aren't really taking into account at the moment for whatever reason, right? Good or bad. And you don't really want to look at this in the cold light of day with all of the things that are kind of coming in to make this decision. Now, the Page of Wands came out in reverse. We also had Judgment, which for me is a card of Scorpio. I'm not sure if it does have a strict astrological correspondence off the top of my head, but I always feel quite Scorpionic about it. And then we've got the Queen of Cups here, which is Cancer. So the Page of Wands always feels like a precursor to movement to me, right? It's knowing that you're going to do something and being excited about it, right? And for me, the Page of Wands, more than any of the other ones, is truly excited about what he's about to do. And it's almost always less about what he's going to do, but more about what they get to experience along the way, right? Because the Wand suit is all about experience. It's all about being in the moment and doing and things. Now, it's come out in the reverse for you, and that feels like not that there's no movement, but the movement is not forwards, and it's not something that you're excited about. It feels, in fact, like the movement is kind of in some ways regressive, in so much as you are looking back at something, right? This is quite an internal state for you, it seems like, and you're not the only sign that I've done. You're the 3rd side that I've read for now. We are in Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, and it looks like everybody to some degree or another is reflecting internally on something. Now the Judgment card, it's a big epic energy to be contained in one card, right? And it has a multitude of meanings, but judgment in making a judgment is obviously one of them too. And it looks like you're kind of looking back at a situation, something that you are not, I'm going to say not comfortable with, that was what wanted to come out about, something that you're not comfortable with in some way. And it feels a little bit like you're trying to change the way that you think about it. Now with the Queen of Cups being here, it could be that you are looking to view the situation a little bit more compassionately. If it involves somebody else, maybe you're trying to see it from their perspective. Or it could be because you are trying in some way to heal yourself from this, right? If this is something that you've been carrying along and you are now recognizing that you've been carrying this situation with you for quite a long time, it's kind of like you've hit a point where you know you need to let it go, or you need to heal whatever this is. I might just actually pull a clarifier for that because I am nosy. Whoa. We've got the Ten of Wands, we've got the King of Swords, and we've got the Tower. That's interesting. That's another card that speaks to me about Scorpio. Tower is Scorpio or Aries because it's ruled by Mars. So we've got this double smack of Scorpio energy going on in here, retrograde energy. But we've also got you as the King of Swords, Aquarius, and the Ten of Wands, which is a card of burden. It's a card of things being too fucking hard. You know, and notice in this, the main character in the Ten of Wands is a child lying down, face down on the ground. And it's the only character that is depicted as light, right? Innocent. We've got a whole heap of people behind there, all just kind of staring at this child that's lying down on the floor. And the child seems completely oblivious, or is very deliberately ignoring everything that's going on around. Now, what strikes me as really interesting here is that we have an archetypal mother with the Queen of Cups here, and we have a child too, right? And I feel like this child is you. Every single sign that I've read for so far seems to be looking back at their childhood about something, right? And it is your childhood, because there you are as the King of Swords. But I see you looking back at this with the benefit of your wisdom, the benefit of your experience. Now, you as an adult looking back to a past situation that was difficult for you in some way, and does appear to be, in a way that I'm not quite sure of right now, it does seem to be affecting what's going on around you, right? This Tower energy speaks to pulling down something old, and it seems like, just as it was for Aries, actually, there's some sort of notion that there's been restriction for you in some sort of way because of an old hurt that has been triggered recently. Now, because you are, you know, older and wiser and mature and all that kind of thing, now it's like this thing popping up, you can look at it and go, ah, and you're starting to see things from a slightly different perspective. I feel like the Page of Wands is in reverse, because actually you are going backwards to something that does not fill you with joy, it does not fill you with excitement. But it feels like now is the time to address it, right? With the Judgment card, you are now called to make a judgment on this from the perspective that you now rest in. So let's have a look at the point of introspection. Like what is this energy trying to get you to address right now? Aquarius. The Moon, the Nine of Wands, which has come out in reverse, and the Seven of Cups. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Hermit, right? The very card of introspection. It's Virgo in the major arcana, but it talks about going within. It talks about the knowledge that all the wisdom that you could ever need actually resides within you. It's just how you look at it. And I feel like you are now looking at things with your very keen, insightful eye. Now, the lesson here with the Moon is about going within. Like, both of these cards talk about going within, right? For sure. But this one talks about being things that are hidden from you, right? They're not necessarily hidden in the Hermit. They're just placed. You know, you need to go looking for them. With this, there are things in your subconscious that you don't actually address. Now, Aquarius, with the greatest of respect and love, you are sometimes known as a bit of a cold card, right? Cold sign, right? We've talked about this before. Like, emotions are something that happen here, and you very rarely are looking here. You're usually looking there. And I think, by definition, that means that you're not often looking back there at things that have gone on before. So sometimes, you know, you can trip up in relationships because, you know, because there's a big wide world out there, right, that requires big thinking, and you can't always be dissatisfied with what's going on here, whether this is with someone else or actually even internally within you. I think that you're being asked to go and have a look at that. Now we've got this Nine of Wands here, which has come out in reverse, which is interesting. It's another Wands card in reverse. So Wands being the card of action and movement and being in the present. And both of them are in the reverse. Right? There's no movement here. But this card talks about boundaries to me, and it also talks about fighting things. And for you, it feels like your boundaries are less boundaries and more kind of walls in a lot of way. Like, it's quite possible that you have an extensive group of friends that you spend a lot of your social time with, and that's cool, you know, and you're well liked and you're popular and all of that. But I don't think that most of them really truly understand how much of yourself you keep back, you keep in reserve from them, right? Now, for some of you, you'll be doing that for protective purposes. No, in fact, I think probably for all of you, it's protective, right? You've discovered over time and experience that not engaging with stuff down here kind of means that you don't get hurt. And, you know, like, this attitude that a lot of Aquarians adopt, where they're just like, I can't be fucked with that, right? I'm over there. Head to a goal, you know, something really, really awesome out there in the future that I'm going to build. That's the thing. It feels to me like the energy that you're in at the moment is asking you to just stop and take stock for a moment and have a look at what it is that you are choosing not to look at the moment. Because I think there's probably a multitude of things, because we've got this Seven of Cups here, and it's a card that talks about choice and illusion. But what I like about the Llewellyn depiction is that there is nobody in the dark here. Like, not only can she see everything that is in all of the cups, she is illuminated, and more than that, you know, she's releasing butterflies from her hands, which are going around and checking out contents of all of these cups. And it feels like that's what you need to do. Like, your emotional reactions to things, or potential lack of emotional reactions to things, I don't think, I should make it clear that I don't think that you've got a mask on and that you're, you know, kind of coldly acting out emotion to people. I think that you're very personable. I just feel like you're very personal. You've got a lot of friends, very popular, all that kind of thing. But within you, there is a really deep core that is walled up, and it's walled up for a reason. And it's time to start poking that and seeing what it is, because actually some of that wall needs to come down. And more than that, you need to understand that it is now, at the point that you're at, the emotions, you know, the things that you feel that sometimes you wish you didn't feel, like, it's okay to let those out. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to let people in. And I think that you've probably spent quite a lot of time constructing this perfect wall so people think they're in when they're not. You know? Let's get you some advice. Some advice for Aquarius. Whoa. We have the Lover's card. I'll show you what that was in a second. Okay. So we have the Lovers, card of Gemini in the Major Arcana. We have the Eight of Wands. And we have the Two of Cups, which is fascinating, because that was the shadow card at the bottom of the deck. Here we have the Empress. Followed immediately by the King of Swords, which is you, Aquarius, right? So, for some of you, for a lot of you, I think, this is coming back to your relationship with your mother, right? What you are running from is something there, possibly. And even if you had a really excellent relationship with your mother, right? Like, wait, we all fuck our kids up. Like, it doesn't matter how hard we try not to. Like, we do in some way or another, because we are flawed human beings, right? Interestingly, this notion has come up for both Libra and Aries. It's kind of over-parenting, like overly good parenting, which has then in some way kind of shifted the way that you relate to your own children. Or sometimes it's really crap parenting, which has you know, change the way that you relate to your own children. But it seems to me like you created this very successful, very intellectual, very logical and reasonable character around yourself because it's the one that served you best out in the world. And it's the one that stopped any notion of this wounding kind of getting triggered by anybody else. The thing is, it feels like it's been triggered somewhere. That's the interesting thing. Something's managed to inveigle its way through your defences and it's touched something. And you're kind of recoiling, like, what the fuck? What is this? I don't like this. Drag it out and look at it. Right? The Lover's card for me is a card of a choice, but it's not like choosing between, you know, do we have Indian or Chinese takeaway tonight, right? It's the act of stepping up and making a choice. It is a card of manifestation to me. Now, in parallel with the other readings that I've done so far, we've got this notion of you having held yourself back in some way. Now, with the other two signs, it felt like they were holding themselves back physically from something, but I don't think that that is the case from you. It's holding back emotionally with you for whatever reason. I do think this angel on the Lover's card looks so very fucking sad, which is intriguing because it's not supposed to. There's a comfort and an intimacy implied by this card. Like the way they're sat there, like they're not depicted as naked like they usually are, and there's no distance between them. You know, usually there's one on either side of the card and the angel's in between, but they're close together. The angel's overlooking it and it's looking sad. It's like, Aquarius, do you really fully understand what intimacy is? Because the angel suggests to me that you don't. And it's perhaps something that's worth exploring. We've got the Eight of Wands here, which is a card for me building momentum. Right? It can talk about communication, and certainly with this particular depiction, we've got a two-way conversation going on because the wands, some are coming in, some are going out. Right? So maybe you need to talk to somebody about this. Could be your mother, might not be. Who should Aquarius talk to about this? The Fool. Yeah. It could well be that there's communication that needs to occur. Maybe it's with an Aries, because here they are. But there's a certain sense of release and liberation that comes along with the Fool card. You know? Letting something go and kind of being a little bit more carefree. Now, I think that you've been very successful by being pretty rigid with yourself on an emotional basis. Perhaps it's time to start releasing the boundaries a little bit. You know, I've just noticed that the Nine of Wands is at the bottom of the deck here, followed by the Six of Wands. Right? That's my card of boundaries. It's right in the center of the reading for you. Where have your boundaries become walls? You know? And there's a mother with some children. Final card is the Two of Cups. Where has this affected your relationships, right? Interpersonal or otherwise? You know, where has it affected the really important relationships with you that you've had? You know, the romantic ones, the really close friends. I don't feel like it's close friends though with you. I feel like it's that step beyond, you know, romantic relationships, possibly, but friends as well to a degree. Let's just see if the compass cards have got anything to say about this for you. Aquarius. Oh, not here. What's the lie? What's the lie you've been telling yourself, Aquarius? What's the lie you've been telling yourself that you think has been keeping you safe all of this time? It feels like October is a month of contemplation and inner exploration for you, just like it is for everybody else. We're all subject to the planets, but it's quite specific for you. So I hope that you found something useful here for you. If you liked the video, if it's resonated at all, I'd love it if you would, you know, like the video or consider subscribing, something like that. There's some deep work for you. I think this is going to be true of all the signs, to be honest. So know that I love you all, and I'll see you soon.